So, dear friends, we go through the summary of this very significant document, Fides et Ratio. First, let's have a look at it. The summary of Fides et Ratio. You know, it is the first encyclical after Pope Leo XIII's encyclical Aeternis Patris. Aeternis Patris means of the eternal God, of the eternal Father. Patris is Father, of the eternal Father. This was a document published by the very progressive Pope Rerum Novarum, Pope Leo XIII. I hope all of you know what is the connection between Pope Leo XIII and our Jnanadeepa Vidyapith.
Yes, Father.
Yeah. He is actually the founder of the then Papal Seminary at Kandy. And it is from the Papal Seminary, the academic branch of the Papal Seminary is what we have the Jnanadeepa Vidyapith. So it was his call, his inspiration that led to the founding of Papal Seminary as well as Jnanadeepa Vidyapith. So after his very progressive document, Aeterni Patris, which deals with the relationship between philosophy and reason, Pope John Paul II wrote this Fides et Ratio. It was released in 1988. This summary is actually given by one Dr. John E. Fagan, and it is published in the internet. We will go through the main points of it. And since you have this document, I want you revise this summary at least 2-3 times. Afterwards, you can actually go through the outline as well as the document. And this is one of the most important quotes from this document. Faith and reason are like two wings on which the human spirit rises to the contemplation of truth. And God has placed in the human heart the desire to know the truth, in a word, to know himself. So that by knowing and loving God, men and women can come to the fullness of the truth about themselves. So basically, faith and reason are like the two wings in contemplating truth. And our human life is a contemplation of the truth of God the Father, which we share among ourselves. It took about 12 years to formulate this very important document, Fides et Ratio. Then, while talking to the US bishops, Pope John Paul II said that he wished to defend the capacity of human reason to know the truth. That the human reason, our mind, our intellect, can know the truth. This is in response to some postmodern thinkers who say truth is all relative and we don't know and we cannot know the truth. So this confidence in our mind, in our reason, is an integral part of the Catholic intellectual tradition. The integral part of our Catholic intellectual tradition is that we can know the truth, we can know God using our reason. And today, this truth has to be reaffirmed in the widespread doctrine of doubt about our ability to answer the fundamental questions. Can we answer these fundamental questions? In philosophy, we have been coming across these questions very often. Who am I? Where have I come from? And where am I going? Why is there evil in this world? And especially in this context of corona pandemic. What is their afterlife? Some of these questions we have done in our earlier courses. And as philosophers, we are all the time busy with these courses. And knowing the truth presupposes that there is an objective truth. So the document very clearly says, without objective truth, man is left adrift. Man just goes where he likes. We are moving up and down without a goal. The violent history of this century, 2 world wars, as well as this corona pandemic. The violent history of this century is due in no small part to the closer of reason to the existence of the ultimate and objective truth. So, we are closing ourselves to truth, to objective and ultimate truth, and that leads to suffering, violence, evil. And this truth is known through faith and reason. Not only through faith, not only through reason. Human reason seeks the truth, but the ultimate truth about the meaning of life cannot be found by reason alone. We seek the truth, but the ultimate meaning of life cannot be found by reason alone. That can be found with reason coupled with faith. Then the proper role of faith and reason in our human search for truth. And for us, when focusing on our faith, we believe the true meaning of life, the true meaning of our life is a person, not a doctrine, not a dogma, not a concept, not an epistemology. For us, the true meaning of life is Jesus Christ. The ultimate answer to our questions about pain, suffering of the innocent, corona deaths, they are found in the passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. The final answers to our search for truth, the final answers to our ultimate questions are found in the person of Jesus Christ. All human creatures, not just philosophers, have the right to receive the truth about their existence and destiny. And for us Christians, it is Christ who reveals himself and makes clear his supreme calling, which is to share in the divine mystery of the life of the Trinity. So, this is the faith aspect of it. And this faith is our obedient response to God's self-revelation. Men and women can accomplish no more important act in their lives than the act of faith. It is here that freedom reaches the certainty of truth and chooses to live in that truth. Okay, now when we come to reason, we can know God exists by our reason, by reflecting. Reason lays the foundation for faith. Reason lays the foundation for faith and makes revelation credible. Therefore, reason is the common ground between believers and unbelievers. We need to enter into dialogue between believers and unbelievers, and reason is the common ground for that. For example, Pope Benedict had a very good talk with the Frankfurt philosopher Habermas, Jürgen Habermas. Habermas did not believe in God, but there was this common ground of reason which made both of them talk. Man's intellectual capacity, his ability to reason and to think, is a great gift from God. We may define human beings as the one who seeks the truth. We may define the human person as the one who seeks the truth. This means that the human person, the one who seeks the truth, is also the one who lives by belief. The seeker of truth is also the one who lives the faith. Therefore, faith and reason, both of them are very, very crucial for us. Knowledge through faith, grounded as it is on trust between persons, is linked to the truth. In the act of believing, men and women entrust themselves to the truth which the other declares to them. When you believe someone, we surrender ourselves to the truth of life. The unity of truth, natural and revealed, is embodied in a living personal way in the person of Christ. There is a natural truth, that is what scientists have. Then there is the revealed truth, that is what believers have. The unity of this scientific truth and faith truth is embodied in the living and personal way in the person of Christ. Thus, in knowing and loving God through faith, man comes to the ultimate truth about himself. Therefore, when we discover the truth of Christ, of God, actually we are discovering the truth about ourselves. Remember, Paul Ricoeur said, every understanding is self-understanding. So when we discover God through our revealed truth, when we experience Christ, or when we experience the beauty and the wonder of nature, we are all experiencing the different aspects of truth, and all these actually enhances our own truth. And then the interaction between revealed truth, that is faith, and natural truth, that is reason. The Holy Father explains the proper interaction between faith and reason and between theology and philosophy. There is a close link between the two. Philosophy is the study of ultimate truth under the natural light of reason. Theology is the study of Catholic faith with revelation as its first principle. Revelation would be the books, the Bible, and the person of Christ. The purpose of theology is to permit greater understanding of the faith so that it can be grasped more firmly. And in this context, reason supports faith. Philosophy supports theology in four ways. One, reason prepares the way to faith. Reason prepares the way to faith. That is why Saint Clement of Alexandria called philosophy as the stepping stone to faith. Secondly, reason can show that there is a God and can demonstrate his primary attributes such as power and divinity. Thirdly, faith without reason withers to myth and superstition. Remember the quotation which we saw. Science can purify religion of superstition. So, faith without reason withers to myth and superstition. And then, philosophy provides a language for theology. The terms, the concepts, the framework, that is how philosophy can help expand the vision of theology. John Paul also explains how faith supports reason and how theology supports philosophy. It is not just reason supporting faith, it is also faith supporting reason. How faith supports reason. The other way around. One, our reason is inherently weak and inclined to error. Reason can make mistakes. Faith stirs reason to explore paths which are new, radical, and creative. Faith enables philosophy to explore new and radical paths. For example, the path of human dignity, equality, and freedom, which we reflect in philosophy, can be enticed through faith. Then faith gives the philosopher the courage to tackle very difficult questions like the problem of evil that we experienced during this pandemic. So faith gives the philosopher the courage to tackle very, very difficult questions. And faith and spirituality, faith and spiritual life protect the philosophers from intellectual pride. So these are how theology and faith can help philosophy and reason. Both would help each other. And this is very, very clear, this number 47. With the rise of rationalism, faith and reason became separated with the disastrous consequences. The end result is the nihilism. Nihilism, you know, when you say there is nothing left, nothing to believe, nothing to be committed, everything is shunya. This nihilistic attitude that is self-defeating. And unfortunately, many of the youth in Europe and America, they are taken away by a kind of nihilism. Albert Camus, the philosopher, the young and the energetic philosopher, could be the best example of a nihilistic attitude to life. Nihilism contains no hope of meaning and admits no objective truth, and it recognizes only the utilitarian ends of power and pleasure, the pragmatic ends. Nihilism says there is no objective truth, there is no meaning in life, everything is lost. So, the relationship of harmony between knowledge of faith and knowledge of reason is something that we can cherish. With the rise of rationalism, that is after the Enlightenment, faith and reason became two exaggerated things. We saw it here already. Results in nihilism, and much worse, with increasing nihilism, there is a culture of death. Not only is suicide on the increase, euthanasia is there for the asking. So many people opt for euthanasia. And the very poor people, no one cares for. Like, you know, the migrants, the Black Lives Matter. So, this is a new era of barbarism rather than a springtime of hope. And this is very, very bad. So, a culture of nihilism and of death leads to a new era of barbarism rather than a springtime of hope. And it is in this context that philosophy can help us to regain the sapiential dimension. Sapiential means the wisdom dimension, the wisdom dimension. That there is an objective truth, that there is meaning in life, that there is an ultimate sense. It must renew, philosophy today must renew its search for wisdom and the ultimate meaning of life. Philosophy must transcend empirical data and consider spiritual realities such as truth, beauty, and universal moral values like human dignity, freedom, human worth, and so on. And this is the greatness of philosophy. There, philosophy must combine itself with theology. Finally, the Pope ends this encyclical by calling on Mary, the seat of wisdom. Mary, the seat of wisdom. May their journey to wisdom, sure and final goal of all true knowledge, be freed of every hindrance by the intercession of the one who, in giving birth to the truth and treasuring it in her heart, has shared it forever with all the world. And this article, you will find it in this website. Now come to the conclusion. At the end of this same document, the Holy Father pleads for something very, very powerfully. You know, Leo the 13th, Eterni Patris, he refers to. Here, the Holy Father is talking about the importance of philosophical thought. Then, the Holy Father emphasizes the importance of philosophy as both the cause and the effect of our culture. Our culture is caused by our philosophical wisdom. Our culture gives and shapes our philosophical worldview. So philosophy is both the cause and effect of our culture. As the mirror of culture, philosophy, as the mirror of our culture, philosophy is essential to the new evangelization that the church wants to promote. And then, this is what is important. The Holy Father ends with separate appeals to theologians, philosophers, and scientists. To theologians, he says, the intimate bond between theological and philosophical wisdom is one of Christian tradition's most distinctive treasures in the exploration of revealed truth. So the intimate bond between theology and philosophy is part of our treasure of the revealed truth. That's why I urge theologians to recover and express to the full the metaphysical dimension of truth, the philosophical dimension of truth, in order to enter into a demanding critical dialogue with both contemporary philosophical thought and the philosophical traditions in all aspects. So let us rediscover the metaphysical and the philosophical dimensions of theology. Secondly, he pleads to the philosophers and more importantly to teachers of philosophy like us. And he says, I ask you to have the courage to recover in the flow of an enduringly valid philosophical tradition the range of authentic wisdom and truth, metaphysical truth included, which is proper to philosophical inquiry. They should be open to the impelling questions which arise from the Word of God, and they should be strong enough to share their thought and discussion in response to that challenge. I wanted to read this and reflect on it. Then, to the scientists, he says, in expressing my admiration and in offering encouragement to these brave pioneers of scientific wisdom, to whom humanity owes so much of its current development, I would urge them to continue their effort without ever abandoning the sapiential horizon within which scientific and technological achievements are wedded to the philosophical and ethical values. The sapiential horizon, that of values, that of wisdom, that of our human dignity, love, freedom. These the Pope urges the scientists to take seriously. These are also the philosophical and the ethical values are the distinctive and indelible mark of the human person. Therefore, the Pope wants the scientists also to take into consideration these sapiential aspect of philosophy. Finally, as I told you already, the Pope invokes the blessings of Mary, the seat of wisdom. So, this is actually a 6-page document. The last 3 pages is actually conclusion from the same document. The first 4 pages would be the summary of the article. And I would like you to be very, very familiar with this article. So friends, back to you. Any comments? Any comments? Fides et ratio, the intimate link between philosophy and theology, between faith and reason, drawing on the wisdom tradition which philosophy, the love of wisdom, can offer. You can also, if you have any questions, you can also write your questions on the chat. Okay, now let me